that fee, marketing and attracting other investment to the project, right? And how does it? Do you use the same approach to many other projects around the world?
Well, Rio Tinto, as the manager and the major investor through Turquoise Hill, is always going to want to bring the highest standards of whatever it does to its mines, wherever they are in the world. The great thing about Oyu Tolgoi is it gives us the opportunity to put the best in the field as of today into a new mine. So we've not only got a new mine, but we're going to be bringing the latest of our management practices, our standards, our processes to the table. So, you know, that's to the advantage of Mongolia. And in certain areas like health and safety and environmental performance, you know, we'll be able to set those standards within Mongolia for those that come after us.
There were certain suggestions that maybe one should have a certain cap on the cost, management cost, in relation with the exceeding of that cap. I mean, if the cost exceeds certain cap, then it is related to the certain other fees. Have you heard about this sort of concept?
Well, there's discussions going on amongst the shareholders, but what I will again say is what's important for all of the parties is that the right drivers are in place. And for Rio Tinto, the right driver is to maximise the profit. By maximising the profit, we maximise tax payments to the government, we maximise the dividends. You know, being sort of rewarded for increasing your cost doesn't make sense, because then you reduce the profits at the same time. So we need to get these drivers right, and those issues will obviously be talked about between the parties, but you know, there is a contractual arrangement in place on management fees.
Speaking about the cost and taxes, you said certain amount of money you have paid to the government. Some people are asking these questions. How much exactly you have been paying and up to from them? I mean, you are already starting, you're paying from day one almost through the salary, through the social security, through the tax to the government coffee. So what is the amount so far now?
Well, the good news is the amount's not zero. And the number's actually a very large number, Jargal. But the way I would look at it from a Rio Tinto perspective is there's an organisation called the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative that looks at issues around mining, and one of their focuses is on benefits to the country that a mine is in. And so as part of the EITI initiative, we've decided from a Rio Tinto perspective to publish the taxes that we pay in every country that we operate in according to a common set of definitions. And that's what we've done in Mongolia. So there are payments that we make directly to the government, and there are payments that we withhold from our employees for their taxes, for businesses, for VAT that we also pay to the government. The reality is that all of those payments would be zero if Oyu Tolgoi didn't start. So they can all be attributed to the Oyu Tolgoi activity, and that's the way we do it. Another good point that I would like to make here is that from a Rio Tinto perspective, the 5th largest amount of tax that we pay in the world at this point in time, in 2012, was to Mongolia. And that's even before we've started making sales.
If everything goes ideally, when do you expect break-even of the project?
It depends how you define break-even, I guess. Things going well to date have been that we've built this in record time. We'll get the revenue started very soon. We're going to get world-class prices for the product, so we should be as profitable as we can, as early as we can. In terms of the great benefits that will come from Oyu Tolgoi, they will really accrue when the underground kicks into operation. So from an excitement perspective, we've constructed, we're about to start selling, but we're also continuing the investment wave into the underground.
Okay, we have been discussing it before. The first phase finishes when you are able to feed the concentrator with the open pit mine, which you did already. And the open pit mine will go as Irdenetu now, right? Then you start the second phase, and which is At which level of the second phase you are at now?
We started investing in the second phase way back in 2006 when we sunk the first shaft. So we're now have 2 shafts almost completed. A third shaft, we're down to 75 metres, and we've started developing what's called the lateral development area, the tunnels underground. So we've probably invested around $1 billion in the underground, but we need to keep investing, Jargal. 2016 is when we expect our first ore from there, and at the time when the underground kicks in, we're expecting our revenues to probably triple at that point in time, and that's because of the richer grade of ore. And that's really exciting, and that's why we need to keep the investment occurring at Oyu Tolgoi.
Let's just let's share some figures with the audience. When we say about now at the current price of copper, when you are in full swing of capacity of underground mine and open pit mine, and let's say we concentrate, and let's say we sell 20 to 30% concentrate to the world market at that price. What kind of level of revenue we are talking about?
You could see revenues between $4 and $6 billion a year coming into the country, and as you rightly say, you can't predict the copper and gold price. It moves around, but very significant revenues.
However, the price is good now. China looks, in spite of all things happening around the world, with its industrialization and further urbanization, it will demand more and more copper. And we are the closest to this market. So hopefully we talk about the same figure a year, about $4 billion revenue coming, and in which 5% will go straightly to the government as a royalty. By the way, speaking about the royalty, somehow we're planning, in spite of the agreement, some progressive royalty. How does that go now?
Well, let's just come back to the revenues piece first. Huge revenues coming into the country that will underpin a significantly expanded government budget based on the stabilisation terms in the investment agreement. The investment agreement is the foundation agreement that allowed the foreign investors, the international investors, to bring $6 billion into the country. It's going to be the agreement that tells us how we operate the mine to international standards. The issue of paying taxes and royalties is covered in that agreement, and that's is the governing agreement for the business.
Okay, let's take off a little bit from the project. You have joined Rio Tinto in 2001 as a CFO of coal. And now you're with the copper, you are in Titan. I mean, you are in charge of the big projects in the world. By all means, it's a great big project. Happy?
I couldn't sort of ask for a job with more responsibility. At the most exciting stage in its development, it's a great honour to be the CEO.
You are already in the country for already 2.5 years or so.
Correct.
So how much you are getting a part of the country?
Well, I've made a lot of friends. I think I work too hard at times, so I don't get out as much as I would like. As you know, the golf courses are getting better, and I'd like to spend more time on the Mongolian golf courses, but I think the more you work with people in government, in business, in the arts, and the social side, the more you fall in love with this place.
Several things happened with Rio Tinto recently, and your CEO is changing. You have another guy now in charge. Why is that? What's going on there?
Well, Sam Walsh was appointed to the role of CEO, and Tom has left. Tom was in charge for 5 to 6 years, and it's not often nowadays that you see CEOs sort of have extended terms. So